Welcome back, sleepyheads. So, this might be a stretch for some people, but I don't think it's that big of a stretch. I was watching the new Furiosa of the Mad Max series, and I didn't even get that far into the movie when I was just bombarded and triggered with some occultic symbolism that was placed into the movie. So, very early on, you meet Chris Hemsworth's character, and he has this teddy bear basically draped and not full bondage, but it's like tied up on his, I think it's his stomach or his back. But that's the first image that we get of this teddy bear. And in the beginning of the movie, I am going to spoil this movie. Sorry, people. So you see Furiosa as a young girl, and she is basically being traded amongst these men for power and resources. And for a period in the beginning, she's not in bondage gear, but ultimately, she ends up being in this head bondage, chained up, and she only has like a little space to where her mouth can open and her eyes can see. So we have this Balenciaga symbolism of the teddy bear that's in bondage, and we see this child being traded amongst men. So for me, I felt like that was clear symbolism. And of course, I thought about the 2022 Balenciaga scandal of the teddy bear ads where the little kids are holding these teddy bears that are in bondage. And there's all this occultic imagery, little demon imagery. There's dragons. I mean, there's so many little tidbits that are placed into these images. It's impossible to not believe that someone put that there intentionally. There's even references in the images to the demon Beelzebub, and the demon Beelzebub is basically promoting energies of war and lust and known for spreading belief in false gods and also possessing human bodies. And a lot of people at this point believe that that is where Balenciaga, the brand name, allegedly, cultivated their name from, or it's just basically this big homage to Beelzebub. But also in these images, there's not only, there's one image of like a little girl who's just poorly positioned on a couch, and she has one of the bondage bears behind her, and in front of her is like this row of wine glasses. I mean, none of that makes any sense. And a huge thing about this too is that teddy bears, Jay Marvel he does a really good job of breaking down or just providing a compilation of how teddy bears are used in music and movies and other forms of media, basically as a symbol of child offense, child innocence, and basically that innocence being robbed. So when you look at the teddy bear in bondage, it's basically saying that this child, their innocence, is held in bondage. I mean, all of it is so cryptic and occultic, you just can't think much of it. But when I saw it in this movie, of course it pissed me off, and it was just another reminder why I struggle to watch movies or TV shows these days, because it's really hard not to see these little images and signs that they place in these shows. But another huge issue in some of the ads was that aside from the kids ads, they had a whole nother set of ads of that took place in an office with female models. And on the desk, there was basically court files referencing the U.S. Supreme Court case versus Williams in 2008. And that case was basically, it was deciding whether or not laws banning the pandering and promoting of child corn curtailed the First Amendment. And of course, I can't say that word, but you know what I'm talking about. Also, in the office imagery, there's a book of Michael Bereman's. I may not be saying that name right, but basically, it was his art book, and he does a lot of occultic, sort of tortured art imagery, and also imagery showing child and adult cannibals. So there is that as well. So everything in those images seemed so intentionally placed. And I don't know if you know if I said this, but there is a tea set in one of the child ads, and that just made me think of like the British royals. Like there's just so many little things in there. And even the dragons. I mean, we can get really draconian with it and think about, the reptilians. And we've even seen the reptilian art, that art piece in the New York subway where the reptile is like taking a child into the underground subway. Like, why? Who thinks of this shit? But there is a group of people out there who not only believe in it, but, they are what they are, essentially. But funny enough, of course, Balenciaga claimed to be, after apologizing, they claimed to be conducting investigations, external, internal. They even sued some of the artists that worked on those shoots that they contracted. But they claimed to be enforcing new controls and that they would be reaching out to organizations that specialize in child protection and those who are fighting against child offenses and exploitation. So, I mean, to me, there's just no way that those ads could pass, all the common sense layers of multiple individuals' brains and still make it out to the public. I think they fully intended for that to go out to the public. They wanted all of the secret imagery in there. They wanted to boast about, the teddy bears, the kids, the innocents. To them, there's the mockery of it. There's the haha in your face, because they know that there's a good amount of people, even though I was, impressed about the amount of people that were like publicly outraged and the fact that this made it on mainstream news. I think there's still a lot of people out there who won't understand this, won't see it, won't believe it. And I think they're always banking on that. But to see this play out in Furiosa, I thought it was really interesting. And even up towards the end of the movie, you see the same teddy bear chained around Chris Hemsworth, his crotch area. And ruining the movie again, sorry. But Furiosa, like, tears this teddy bear. Like, tears those chains off and frees the teddy bear. And there's another image of her holding this teddy bear that's still in its chains and its bondage. And she's come out of this childhood of being passed around by men with power. And she's trying to, she's angry at Chris Hemsworth character because he took away her innocence, killed her mother. stole her childhood. And so now she's holding this teddy bear in chains. And it's a huge symbol of her innocence and her childhood. And she's looking at it like, even then, it's still not enough. But the power of that teddy bear symbolism and, the connection to the Balenciaga ads and realizing that teddy bears not only are a symbolism of, I think, child exploitation, and I cannot say the word, but you know what I'm thinking of, but also too, teddy bears, some people believe that teddy bears have spirits trapped in them. But if you think about the amount of emotions that kids pour into their teddy bears to almost bring them to life in their reality, when they're angry, when they're sad, they're holding onto those teddy bears. All of those hormones get dribbled onto those teddy bears. There's so much trauma that can essentially be trapped in a teddy bear. And I know we all want to believe that, teddy bears are cute, adorable, and it's innocent. And I think they can be. But we know in this world where everything gets warped into something dark, there's a whole nother reality to it that we don't acknowledge on a daily basis. But again, I understand that this may seem like a stretch to some people, but to me, it was so blatant, and it took me right back to the Balenciaga ad, and to see the bear, how it was being used in the movie, it just made everything come full circle in a weird way. And to be honest, I really enjoy Anna Taylor-Joy's work. So that's why I was curious about the movie anyways. And I think she did a good job as far as an actress, but I don't think the movie was that great in general. And Chris Hemsworth's character, oh God. So many monologues. They turned me off. I didn't even finish the movie the first time I started watching it because, one, the whole teddy bear thing made me feel sick. And I only ended up finishing the movie so I can understand what happened to the teddy bear reference and that I knew what I would be talking about. But Chris Hemsworth's character, they just made him give one monologue after the other. And I was like, I cannot listen to this man talk, and I don't have an issue with Chris Hemsworth, as far as his acting, but I think he's given so many of those sort of speeches in Thor and the Avengers and those movies that they just took that and thought it would work with this Furiosa movie, but it did not. Yeah, it just really didn't. But I think this is, again, the reality of when you start to learn more about these things and you see it more and you understand it more, you can't just sit there and watch a movie and see it for face value. You see things deeper. You start to see those symbols, the occultic ties that they try to throw into every movie. It's unavoidable. But that's all I have for this little tidbit. I know, what an episode to come out of hiatus to, but I don't know, I had to do it. I saw it and I was like, okay, this needs to be said. We need to address this. And I didn't even really touch on all of the little imagery tidbits that were in those Balenciaga ads, because a lot of those images have gotten scrubbed from the internet, and I have some of them saved on my personal files, but still, it's just crazy that, that was what they thought was artistic and cool and for fashion, and it's one of those things that really make you think, like, do we need to have child models? Is it really necessary? I mean, we don't have kids who are like that invested in like looking at fashion, going to fashion shows. It's all for the adult eye. And I thought about that too as well. I was like, this isn't even necessary at this point. And if we have AI models that get followers on Instagram, let's just do AI child models and let's leave children out of it completely. Because it's not safe on the internet to have an image of your child on your personal social media. And I don't think it's even safe if we think about kids and babies and like commercial ads or anything like that. And the fact that Balenciaga was just like so appalled and like, oh, we don't know how this happened. We're so sorry. We can't believe it. Has JCPenney's ever made this mistake? Has Macy's? Has anyone ever thought, let's put, child bondage and let's try to make it cool and let's hide all this occultic symbolism in our ads? No, you don't see that on basic fashion that parents will readily go out and buy for their kids, because parents aren't checking for, oh, let me get my child a new Balenciaga shirt or whatever. That's just not a thing. But let me know in the comments, sleepyheads, if you think this was a stretch, whatever your thoughts were, if you saw the movie, if you saw the teddy bear, what do you think? Yeah, there will be more episodes to come, and sleepyheads, hope you have a good night, and we will talk again soon.